Good morning, students. Today we will discuss about the thyroid gland. That is, we will talk about the anatomy of the thyroid gland, its relations, and important clinical conditions associated with it. So, thyroid gland is a very important endocrine gland of the body. Performs various functions. It produces important hormones. It is a gland that can produce hormones as well as can store the hormones, and it will release them accordingly into the bloodstream. It regulates the metabolism, plays a role in various cardiovascular functions. It regulates calcium levels in the blood by producing calcitonin. It also helps in the growth and development of the body. So, we'll talk about the gland in detail. So, an endocrine gland situated in the lower part of the neck, in front and on sides. This is the thyroid gland. Structurally, it has two parts, two lobes, that is right and left, and the lobes are joined to each other with the help of isthmus. The middle portion that joins both the lobes is known as isthmus. And in so mainly thyroid gland जो है, it has two parts, um that is right and left lobe. But in about 40 to 50% of population, there could be a third lobe which is known as pyramidal lobe, which can project upwards from the isthmus. So mainly there are two, and in 40 to 50% population there is also a third lobe which is the pyramidal lobe. एक और structure है, that is levator glanduli thyroidi. It is a fibromuscular bend, and it descends from the body of the hyoid bone to either the isthmus or the pyramidal lobe. And because it is known as because it is related with the thyroid gland, so it is known as glanduli thyroidi, and it elevates the thyroid gland, so it is known as levator glanduli thyroidi. Location and extent of the thyroid gland, you can see here in this figure. The thyroid gland, it extends from the vertebral level C5 to T1. That is C5, C6, C7 and T1. That is the extent of the thyroid gland. It embraces the upper part of the trachea. In this figure, this is thyroid cartilage. This is cricoid cartilage. And behind this gland are the tracheal rings. So the upper part of the trachea is embraced by this gland, and each lobe of the thyroid gland extends from the middle of the thyroid cartilage. It extends from the middle of the thyroid cartilage to fourth or fifth tracheal ring. That is the extent. And this isthmus, this portion, it extends from the second to the fourth tracheal ring. So lobes extend from the middle of the thyroid cartilage to the fourth, fifth tracheal ring, and isthmus extends from the second to the fourth tracheal ring. Measurements of the lobe and the isthmus are given. It is 25 grams in weight. Thyroid gland is larger in females as compared to males, and the size further it increases during pregnancy and menstruation. So there are two capsules covering the gland, the true capsule and the false capsule. You can see in the figure, the true capsule is nothing but it is the condensation of the connective tissue of the gland itself. जो thyroid gland है उसके connective tissue के condensation से form होता है ये true capsule, and deep to it you have a dense capillary plexus deep to the true capsule. Unlike prostate, prostate में जो वेनस प्लेक्सस है वो लाई करता है इन बिटवीन द ट्रू एंड फॉल्स कैप्सूल, एंड थायराइड में जो प्लेक्सस है वो लाई करता है डीप टू द ट्रू कैप्सूल. Another one is the false capsule. False capsule is nothing but it is the extension of the deep cervical fascia. It is formed by the pretracheal layer. So deep cervical fascia जो है उसके investing layer से कैप्सूल बन रहा था पेरोटिड ग्लैंड का एंड सब मैंडिबुलर ग्लैंड का, एंड उसी की एक और जो लेयर है इट बेसिकली कंसिस्ट ऑफ 6 लेयर्स. उसी में से एक जो लेयर है प्री ट्रैकियल लेयर, उससे फॉर्म होता है फॉल्स कैप्सूल ऑफ द थायराइड ग्लैंड. इट इज़ थिन अलॉन्ग द पोस्टीरियर बॉर्डर एंड इट इज़ थिक इन द इनर सरफेस. सो वो सरफेस जो कि मीडियल साइड में है, मिड लाइन के साइड में है, दैट इज़ द मीडियल सरफेस. एंड यहाँ पे जो फॉल्स कैप्सूल है इट इज़ थिक एंड इट फॉर्म्स अ सस्पेंसरी लिगामेंट ऑफ बेरी which connects the lobe to the cricoid cartilage. This is the suspensory ligament of Berry. This is cricoid cartilage, and this ligament connects the lobe to the cricoid cartilage. Now the lobe consists of an apex which is directed upwards. It consists of a base directed downwards. It consists of 3 surfaces: lateral surface, also known as superficial surface or anterior surface, medial surface, and posterolateral or posterior surface. It has 2 borders: anterior border which is thin and posterior border which is thick and rounded, and it separates the medial and the posterior surfaces. So in the figure here you can see this thin border is the anterior border of the thyroid gland, and this surface facing towards the anterior side is the lateral superficial or the anterior surface, and this surface which is on the posterior side is the posterolateral surface, and the inner surface is the medial surface, and in between medial and posterolateral surface this is the posterior border. And you can also see 4 small pea-sized structures. These are the parathyroid glands located on the posterior part of the thyroid gland, and they also help in the regulation of calcium in blood because they produce parathyroid hormones. So they are also important. The apex of the thyroid gland is directed upwards and slightly laterally, and it is limited by the attachment of sternothyroid to the oblique line of the thyroid cartilage. In this figure, these all are the infrahyoid muscles. So in the previous lecture, we had discussed about suprahyoid. We'll also discuss about infrahyoid muscles in detail later. And they are important here because they actually are related with the thyroid gland. So the muscle that is related with the thyroid gland is the sternothyroid. This muscle is the sternothyroid. This is the oblique line on the thyroid cartilage. This is thyroid cartilage. This is thyroid gland. This is the sternothyroid muscle. And basically ये muscle जहाँ attach हो रही है to the oblique line on the thyroid cartilage, वो वहाँ तक extend करता है thyroid gland का apex. तो ये thyroid gland की apex को limit कर देती है this attachment. And the apex is also related to the superior thyroid artery and the external laryngeal nerve. ये 2 बहुत important relations हैं apex of the thyroid gland के. Base of the thyroid gland is at the level of the 4th or 5th tracheal ring, and it is related to the inferior thyroid artery and the recurrent laryngeal nerve. So in this figure, this is the external carotid artery. It gives away the branch that is the superior thyroid artery, which divides into anterior and posterior branches. So this is superior thyroid artery, and it is related with the apex of the thyroid gland. And very close to this you have the external laryngeal nerve, which is also related with the apex. Below here you have the thyrocervical trunk, which is coming from the subclavian artery, and it gives the branch which is the inferior thyroid artery, which is related with the base of the gland, and you also have the recurrent laryngeal nerve. So these are important relations of the apex and the base of the thyroid gland. Isthmus also has an anterior surface facing towards the anterior side and a posterior surface on the back side that faces towards the trachea. It has two borders, upper border faces upwards towards the apex of the gland, and the lower border faces downwards. Arterial supply of the thyroid gland. So the external carotid artery gives the branch, which is the first anterior branch of the external carotid artery, which is the superior thyroid artery. Here in this figure you can see. So the external carotid artery would give the branch, that is the superior thyroid artery, which is the first anterior branch of the external carotid artery. It runs downwards and forwards. See, it is running downwards and forwards, and it divides into anterior and posterior branches. This is the anterior branch and this branch is the posterior branch. Anterior branch descends along the anterior border of the lobe and continues along the upper border of the isthmus. So anterior branch is descending along the anterior border of the lobe and the upper border of the isthmus, and it anastomoses with the branch of the opposite side. So you can see here, these are the external carotid arteries giving away the first anterior branch, which is the superior thyroid. It runs downwards and forwards, dividing into an anterior branch and a posterior branch. Anterior branch descends down along the anterior border and the upper border of the isthmus, and then both anastomose together. The posterior branch is also descending along the posterior border of the lobe, and it is anastomosing with the ascending branch of the inferior thyroid. This is the inferior thyroid, and the ascending branch of the inferior thyroid anastomose with the posterior branches of the superior thyroid artery, and this posterior branch also supplies the parathyroid glands. So the same description has been given: anterior branch, posterior branch of the superior thyroid. In this figure also the same, external carotid is giving the branch, anterior, posterior. This is superior thyroid artery, the anterior branch and the posterior branch. And you can also see the thyrocervical trunk, that is giving the inferior thyroid artery. Again, the same description of the inferior thyroid. It arises from the thyrocervical trunk, from the subclavian artery, runs upwards medially. Apart from the superior and inferior thyroid artery, the gland is also supplied by the lowest thyroid artery, which arises from the brachiocephalic trunk, or it comes directly from the arch of aorta, and it enters the lower part of the isthmus, and that is why it is known as the lowest thyroid artery. Accessory thyroid arteries arise from the tracheal and esophageal arteries. Venous drainage. In order to understand the venous drainage, we'll take help of a image. So basically there are four type of veins: superior thyroid vein, middle thyroid vein, inferior thyroid vein, and a fourth thyroid vein, which is known as vein of Kocher. So this is a image which will help in memorizing the venous drainage of the thyroid gland. So the first vein is the superior thyroid vein, which emerges at the upper pole. It is related with the superior thyroid artery, and it ends into the internal jugular. This is the internal jugular vein. So it arises from the apex, ends into the internal jugular, and it is related with the superior thyroid artery. Middle emerges from the middle of the lobe. This is the middle portion of the lobe. This is the middle thyroid vein. It also ends into the internal jugular vein. Inferior thyroid vein emerges at the lower border of the isthmus. This is the lower border. And inferior thyroid veins form a plexus in front of the trachea. So you can see here the inferior thyroid vein forms a plexus in front of trachea emerging from the lower border of the isthmus. And they drain into the left brachiocephalic vein. And lastly, there is a fourth thyroid vein, which is known as vein of Kocher. It emerges between the middle and inferior veins. It emerges between middle and inferior. And it also drains into the internal jugular vein. So superior, middle and vein of Kocher all drain into the internal jugular. Only the inferior thyroid forms the plexus and it drains into the left brachiocephalic vein. Same description has been given here. The lymphatic from the upper part of the thyroid gland drain into the upper deep cervical nodes either directly or through the prelaryngeal nodes. Lymphatics from the lower part of the gland drain into the lower deep cervical nodes either directly or through the pretracheal and paratracheal nodes. So again this image, the lymph from the upper part, either it goes directly to the upper deep cervical lymph nodes or it goes through the prelaryngeal. These are the prelaryngeal lymph nodes. So either it goes directly or it goes through the prelaryngeal. From the lower part, either it goes directly to the lower deep cervical nodes or it passes to the pretracheal and paratracheal and then it goes to the lower deep cervical nodes. The nerve supply to the thyroid gland is by the middle cervical ganglion mainly and partly by the superior and inferior cervical ganglion, and they are vasoconstrictor. Development of the thyroid gland embryologically during the 3rd week of the gestation or the intrauterine life, the endodermal cells of primitive pharynx proliferate to form median endodermal thyroid diverticulum. Primitive pharynx is the cranial portion of the foregut. And this median endodermal thyroid diverticulum, it grows down into front of neck from the floor of the primitive pharynx just caudal to the tuberculum impar. Tuberculum impar जो है वो एक embryonic swelling है. It is situated in the midline of the floor of the pharynx and it forms the anterior part of the tongue. So you can see here, this is the second pharyngeal arch and this is the median thyroid diverticulum from which the thyroid gland develops. So the lower end of the diverticulum enlarges to form the gland and the rest of the diverticulum remains narrow. बाकी का जो diverticulum का portion बच गया है, that is narrow and it forms the thyroglossal duct. So the thyroglossal duct is a connection between the initial area of development of thyroid gland and its final position. That is, this thyroglossal duct, it extends from the foramen cecum of the tongue, which is present at the junction of the anterior 2/3 and posterior 1/3. So it extends from the initial position, this is the initial position of the development of thyroid gland, to the final position. So thyroglossal duct, it soon disappears. If it persists, if the remnants are present even after the development of the thyroid gland, then it can form thyroglossal cysts or thyroglossal fistula. One more abnormality, which is known as lingual thyroids or retrosternal thyroids, is when the thyroid tissue develops at abnormal site along the course of this duct, thyroglossal duct. That type of gland, it would be known as retrosternal thyroid. Plus accessory thyroid glands may also be present. Clinical conditions, important, very important clinical conditions are associated. Commonly seen conditions are associated with the anomaly of the thyroid gland. Goiter is one, where there is swelling of the neck from enlargement of the thyroid gland. Whenever thyroid gland is examined, it is palpated from behind. That is, the examining person is standing behind the patient, and then the thyroid gland should be palpated. This is the swelling of the thyroid gland. This condition is goiter. Another condition is hyperthyroidism. Hyper means excess of the thyroxine hormone that the gland is producing. It produces it in excess. There are certain symptoms like unexpected weight loss, rapid and irregular heartbeat, sweating, irritability. Treatment is removal of this thyroid, which is known as thyroidectomy, and along with the gland, the true capsule is also removed, because the dense venous plexus, capillary plexus, it exists, it is embedded within this true capsule, deep to this true capsule. So it is also removed along with the gland. There is another procedure which is known as subtotal thyroidectomy, in which the posterior part of both the lobes are left behind. सो कंप्लीट ग्लैंड को रिमूव नहीं किया जाता है. जो पोस्टीरियर पोर्शंस हैं जहाँ पे पैराथायरॉयड ग्लैंड्स अटैच्ड हैं, उस पोर्शन को रहने देते हैं, सो दैट देर इज नो रिस्क लाइक पोस्ट ऑपरेटिव मिक्स इडीमा. पोस्ट ऑपरेटिव मिक्स इडीमा, बेसिकली मिक्स इडीमा इज कॉम्प्लिकेटेड और एडवांस्ड हाइपोथायरॉयडिज्म. मतलब अगर किसी को हाइपरथायरॉयडिज्म है एंड उसका थायराइड ग्लैंड रिमूव किया और एक साथ पूरा ग्लैंड रिमूव कर दिया, तो उससे जो है रिडक्शन हो जाएगा, सडन रिडक्शन हो जाएगा थायराइड हार्मोन का, एंड दैट कुड लीड टू मिक्स एडिमा, दैट कुड लीड टू अ सीवियर फॉर्म ऑफ हाइपोथायरॉयडिज्म. तो वो ना हो, एक बैलेंस्ड लेवल बना रहे, इसके लिए जो पोस्टीरियर पार्ट है जहाँ पे पैराथायरॉयड ग्लैंड्स भी हैं, तो उस पोर्शन को रिमूव नहीं किया जाता है एंड बाकी का पोर्शन रिमूव कर देते हैं. दैट इज सबटोटल थायरॉयडेक्टमी. जैसे ओवर प्रोडक्शन हो सकता है हार्मोन्स का, वैसे ही अंडर प्रोडक्शन भी हो सकता है. सो दैट कंडीशन इज हाइपोथायरॉयडिज्म. द मेजर सिम्टम्स आर फैटीग, कोल्ड सेंसिटिविटी, constipation, dryness of the skin, and unexplained weight gain. So it is just reverse. When the hormone is excess, there is weight loss, and when the hormone is deficient, there is weight gain. Tumors present हो सकते हैं. ट्यूमर्स अगर होंगे तो इट विल डिस्प्लेस एंड कंप्रेस द नेबरिंग स्ट्रक्चर्स लाइक कैरोटिड शीथ, ट्रैकिया, इतने इंपॉर्टेंट स्ट्रक्चर्स, पीछे ईसोफेगस, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट स्ट्रक्चर्स हैं जिनको ये कंप्रेस कर सकता है. एंड ऑल्सो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट नर्व्स हैं, लैरेंजियल जो नर्व्स हैं, दे आर वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, बिकॉज अगर वहाँ पे उन नर्व्स पे कंप्रेशन करते हैं ट्यूमर, या सर्जरी करते टाइम, रिमूवल करते टाइम, थायरॉयडेक्टमी करते टाइम अगर इन नर्व्स में इंजरी हो जाती है, इफ़ द एक्सटर्नल लेरेंजियल नर्व इज इंजर्ड, तो वॉइस जो है उसमें वीकनेस हो जाएगी, बिकॉज ये जो नर्व है वो सप्लाई करती है क्रिकोथायरॉयड मसल को. एंड रिकरेंट लेरेंजियल नर्व जो कि क्लोजली रिलेटेड है विद इंफीरियर थायरॉयड आर्टरी, अगर वहाँ पे रिमूवल के टाइम पे वो डैमेज होती है या प्रेशर उस पर क्रिएट होता है ड्यू टू एनी ट्यूमर, इट कैन लीड टू वोकल कॉर्ड पैरालिसिस एंड देयर वुड बी होर्सनेस ऑफ द वॉइस. एंड दैट इज़ वाई बहुत बहुत सारे जो पेशेंट्स होते हैं जिनमें कि स्वेलिंग है थायराइड ग्लैंड में, तो वो उनकी वॉइस की क्वालिटी में ऑल्ट्रेशन होता है, एंड इट इज़ बिकॉज वो जो स्वेलिंग है वो कंप्रेस करती है इंपॉर्टेंट नर्व्स को विच आर रिलेटेड विद द ग्लैंड. So that's all about the anatomy and the clinical conditions related with thyroid gland. Thank you so much.